Hey guys, I fully believe, as many of you know, that Scrabble is not all about winning, and for me personally, what I really value about the game is the opportunity to travel all across North America, playing tournaments, challenging myself against top competition regardless of the result, and getting to enjoy some quality time and camaraderie with some of my best friends. Now, two players are taking the part about traveling all over the place and playing lots of tournaments to the extreme right now. They are engaged neck and neck in a heated battle for the ages that has spanned multiple time zones, thousands of miles, hundreds of games of Scrabble. It's absolutely epic, it's absolutely chaotic, and I want to tell you all about it in today's video. Every year at the Scrabble Players Championship, the North American Scrabble Players Association, or NASPA for short, gives out several coveted annual awards. Many of these are solely performance-based, such as the Player of the Year award, which goes to the person who has the highest performance rating on average throughout the year. But some of these awards are designed to reward people who show a lot of devotion to Scrabble. Like I said, Scrabble is not all about winning. Much of Scrabble is about enjoying the experience of playing a lot of tournaments and interacting with your friends. And one of these annual NASPA awards goes to the player who plays the most sanctioned NASPA tournament games throughout the year. And guys, these two Scrabble maniacs, who I'm going to tell you all about in just a moment, have turned this award that's specifically supposed to be about enjoying Scrabble for the sake of playing and not necessarily winning into something that is all about winning. These guys are going to extraordinary lengths to try to oust each other for the award, and it is absolutely ridiculous and also absolutely amazing at the same time. So without further ado, let me tell you more about the two people who are battling for this award. I have pulled up here the current standings for most games played this year. You might recognize the guy in 5th place. I'm pretty proud, guys, of how much Scrabble I play. I've played 279 rated games of Scrabble in North America this year, which is more than all but 4 of my competitors, and I think that's pretty cool. However, that pales in comparison to some of the other players here. In the 3rd and 4th place are two longtime experts and prolific tournament directors. We have Eric Harshbarger sitting in 4th with 330 rated games, and Andy Hung sitting in 3rd with 362 rated games. But these guys, while they're both well ahead of me, are way behind of the two folks in 1st and 2nd, and it's finally time to reveal their identities. Currently in 2nd place, with 424 rated games of Scrabble under his belt this year, is Eric Goldstein. Eric has made several cameos on my YouTube channel. He's one of my closest friends, and fun fact, he's also my most played opponent in tournament history. Eric and I have played a whopping 59 times in rated Scrabble tournaments. Eric loves traveling all over the country, playing tournaments. He always has a great time, and he certainly deserves his spot near the top of this list. However, he's certainly not going to win this award without a fight, because currently leading him by 6 games with a whopping 430 games under his belt is Tracy Cobbs, a longtime expert from Alabama. Tracy has made a mad rush the last couple months. Like Eric, he has been traveling all over the country playing tournaments and also benefiting significantly from his close friend Eric Harshbarger, who's a prolific tournament director in their home state of Alabama. And with a lot of games under his belt from Eric Harshbarger's tournaments and his own travels all across the country, Tracy Cobbs currently sitting in 1st, once again, with 430 rated games of Scrabble. So the million-dollar question that, of course, everyone in the Scrabble community wants to know is which of these Scrabble maniacs is going to win? Will it be Tracy or will it be Eric? And we're going to spend the rest of this video trying to dissect the different possibilities and permutations and see who is going to take it home. But before we do, it's worth mentioning that this award is not a calendar year award. We don't have 6 months left of the year to see who's going to get more games. We only have a couple more weeks, because NASPA uses the Scrabble Players Championship as both the start and the end of all of its annual awards. So as soon as the Scrabble Players Championship starts in a couple of weeks in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that is going to be it. And whoever has more games played at that point is going to take home this award. And it's also worth mentioning that I have spoken extensively to both Tracy and Eric, as well as some of their close acquaintances, about this award, and I can tell you guys, both of these guys really want to win this thing. And in case you still don't believe me, let me show you some data from both of their pages for the last year to prove how devoted they really are to playing tons of Scrabble and winning this award. We'll start with Eric. Eric Goldstein has played a whopping nearly 50 tournaments since counting began for this award at last year's Scrabble Players Championship, which you can see in the 10th row of his page here. His recent tourneys page is absolutely littered with tournaments, many of which are in the Northeast, near where he lives in Scarsdale, New York, but he also gets around really well to travel. One notable tournament he played is in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky, where I helped run a tournament, and Eric flew down here, and we all had a great time, and he, of course, played lots of Scrabble. He also has come to several tournaments in Charlottesville, Virginia that I've been to as well. He also traveled to Florida earlier this year for a tournament. He traveled to Asheville, North Carolina. So he gets around. He loves flying cool places, making trips out of it, trying cool restaurants, and having a great time. And of course, playing lots of Scrabble. As you can see, Eric plays more weeks than he doesn't. He plays many tournaments per month. He is an absolute animal when it comes to Scrabble. I don't think I've ever seen the man get tired of playing tournament Scrabble. And yeah, if this doesn't convince you that Eric is in it to win this thing, then I don't know what will. But, like I said, he's not in it alone. We got to take a look at Tracy Cobbs. Tracy has competed in a staggering 55 tournaments since counting began for this award at last year's Scrabble Players Championship. Even though he's competed in about 10 more tournaments than Eric Goldstein, he's only up by 6 games. Why? If you scroll down, you'll notice that almost half of the tournaments Tracy has played in this span have been in Auburn, Alabama. And they've been relatively short one-day tournaments, anywhere between 4 and 8 games. I mentioned earlier the 4th place player on that list, Tracy's good friend Eric Harshbarger. Eric runs a lot of multi-day Scrabble extravaganzas in his hometown of Auburn, Alabama, that usually consist of 2 or 3 one-day tournaments as opposed to one larger multi-day that's a bit of the more traditional style and accounts for more of Eric Goldstein's tournaments. But in any case, Tracy has competed in a whopping 55 tournaments, and you will see he, a little more so than Eric, at least historically, does stick to his geographic region of the country in southern tournaments like Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia. However, that all changed in the last couple of months. And in particular, the month of June has been absolutely wild for Tracy, and especially Tracy's car. Tracy, unlike Eric, is not one much for flying to tournaments. Instead, he goes on large road trips and competes in lots of Scrabble tournaments. More my style too, personally, by the way, so I totally respect that. In the month of June, Tracy has traveled to Joplin, Missouri to compete in a 2-day tournament. And then the week after, he embarked on one of the craziest Scrabble road trips you will see in a clear and unambiguous attempt to try to steal the most games played title from his closest rival, Eric Goldstein. His rampage started with a 1-day tournament in the Cleveland suburb of Medina, Ohio. And then, guys, in possibly the most brazen move in Scrabble history, Tracy shows up in Scarsdale, New York, at a tournament directed and hosted at home by none other than Eric Goldstein himself on June 24th, just last week. Eric hosted a 14-game tournament at his own house, split up into an 8-game main event and a 6-game Nightbird, and who shows up other than Tracy Cobbs himself? So it was officially that day at Eric's own house, of all places, that Tracy first passed Eric on the most games played list. And in case you're wondering, who won that event? I won the main event, and who won the Nightbird? I did as well. Just worth pointing out. But anyway, that's irrelevant. What's really relevant is this battle between Tracy and Eric, not me. And Tracy wasn't done. After that tournament, the very next day, Tracy went up to the neighboring state of Connecticut, where he won a 9-game one-day tournament in Brookfield before driving the whole day back to Auburn, Alabama for one of Eric Harshbarger's 2-day festivals that weekend, where he competed in one-day tournaments both on Saturday and on Sunday, June 27th and 28th, to cap off one of the wildest weeks of Scrabble you will ever see. Here's an image of Tracy's road trip itinerary I plotted on Google Maps. He would have driven well over 30 hours and covered well over 2,000 miles in the process of going on this Scrabble trip and taking, for now, the most games title from Eric Goldstein. If that isn't dedication, guys, I don't know what is. Absolutely crazy stuff from Tracy Cobbs. And now, once and for all, let's try to answer the million-dollar question. Who's going to win this thing? Is it going to be Tracy or is it going to be Eric? Remember, this only lasts until the Scrabble Players Championship in Cedar Rapids, Iowa starts. So all tournaments happening after that are irrelevant. We're going to gray them out. We're also going to gray out all tournaments run through a different organization. You'll see some tournaments listed here on crosstables.com have a W logo. This is WGPO. That's a different organization. That does not count. And likewise, the C stands for Coco, also a different organization. That doesn't count. Only NASPA tournaments count for this title. So those tournaments getting grayed out as well. And we don't have very many tournaments left, at least that are already on the calendar. As of right now on the calendar, we have a one-day tournament in Safety Harbor, Florida on July 2nd. Currently, neither Eric nor Tracy are signed up for this tournament. But wait a minute, what's going on the next week on July 9th in, of all places, Scarsdale, New York? You guys have any guesses for who's running that tournament? Yeah, it's Eric Goldstein. And of course, Eric Goldstein is signed up, and he is doing 14 games in one day again, which, by the way, guys, if you aren't familiar with tournaments, 14 games of Scrabble in one day is an absolutely obscene amount of Scrabble. At the Scrabble Players Championship, they play 7 a day. So this is double the amount that they play even at the Scrabble Players Championship. Most one days max out at 8 games per day. So Eric, like I said, an absolute animal when it comes to tournament Scrabble. The man never gets tired. He is running another 14-game tournament at his house. This time, a 10-game main event and a 4-game Nightbird. Of course, Eric is signed up for both of them. Worth mentioning too, Eric's son Noah, a strong Scrabble expert himself, signed up for both. I probably won't be going to this one, and as of right now, Tracy is not signed up, but we'll see. It's not too late. And then, looking ahead a little more, there is a 4-game tournament in Brooklyn, New York, which is also near where Eric lives. However, it doesn't appear that either Eric or Tracy are going to be able to play. This tournament is already full, so I don't think this one is going to be relevant. And then there's only one tournament left, guys, before SPC, namely Wilmington, Delaware on July 12th. And let's take a look. Oh, guess who's playing? Eric Goldstein. Wilmington is about a 2 to 3 hour drive from the New York City suburbs where Eric lives. So very manageable, especially for a guy like him. And that's another 8 games that are going to be added to Eric's total, assuming he shows up to this tournament as well as the one at his house, which I think it's a pretty good bet he's going to show up to both of them. So Eric currently down by 6 games, but he is signed up for a combined 22 more games before time expires, and Tracy is currently signed up for 0. So, does that mean Eric is definitely going to win? Well, not so fast, for a couple of reasons. Number one, these tournaments haven't happened yet. Both Scarsdale and Wilmington are almost 2 weeks away. So there's plenty of time for Tracy Cobbs to still plan another epic road trip and sign up. And if Tracy plays both Scarsdale and Wilmington, and they're close enough, only 3 days apart, I could see him making a road trip out of it, then he will be ahead of Eric, because that's going to cancel out. They'll both be playing both of those tournaments, and Tracy's 6-game lead will hold. Now, there's still the question of Safety Harbor, Florida, like I mentioned before. That's a 7-game tournament, and that's happening very soon. So I'm guessing neither of them are going to show up, but it's possible, especially if Tracy sees Eric signed up for these upcoming tournaments. He may feel a sense of urgency and even go on a last-minute road trip to Florida to get those 7 games. However, the problem is, if Eric really does play both Scarsdale and Wilmington, then 7 games from Safety Harbor alone isn't going to be enough for Tracy, because Eric's 14 in Scarsdale and 8 in Wilmington are going to put him at 446, and Tracy would only get to 437 from his 430 if he played in Safety Harbor. So Tracy is going to still need more help after that. So if you're Tracy here, the most logical next step appears to be planning a road trip to the Northeast once again if you want to keep your chances alive. The other potential thing that could still happen is other tournaments can still show up, guys. NASPA has a rule that tournaments can be sanctioned 10 or more days in advance, and there are still well more than 10 days worth of room for tournaments to pop up before nationals that one or both of these guys might play. Remember, as we've seen, Eric is not afraid to spontaneously plan tournaments at his house, so if he feels a need to do so, if Tracy somehow catches him and Eric needs to plan another last-minute tournament at his house, I have no doubt he will do so, and Tracy maybe will convince his friend Eric Harshbarger, the other Eric down in Alabama, to run an impromptu extra festival so he himself can get more tournaments, as Auburn, Alabama is going to be quite a pain for Eric Goldstein to get to. So this is absolute chaos. I would say right now, it's probably advantage Eric Goldstein, given that even though Tracy's winning, Eric does have multiple concrete tournaments that he's extremely likely to show up to on the calendar. Tracy right now doesn't have anything planned, and he's kind of on the defensive now. He's going to have to plan something. But like I said, this is far from over. I have a feeling more tournaments are going to pop up, whether in New York or Alabama, or heck, maybe, maybe I'll run something in Kentucky just to really throw a wrench into things, and we'll see who shows up for that. You never know. This is up for grabs. This is super crazy. This is super exciting, and I am very excited to see what these two guys conjure up over the next couple of weeks before the Scrabble Players Championship, and just how great lengths they go to try to win this award. But it's worth mentioning that I have a lot of respect for both of these guys. Whoever wins it, they both absolutely deserve it. It's kind of going to suck that one of them has to lose, because they have both given a ton to the game this past year. They have both spent a lot of money, hours, time, flying, driving places, playing. I've had many great games against both of them. So, like I said, major props to both Eric Goldstein and Tracy Cobbs for giving so much to our wonderful game. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. I know it was a little different than the content I usually make, but I find it so entertaining and cool that I couldn't help make a video on it. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, and let me know, who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Eric Goldstein? Is it going to be Tracy Cobbs? Or, final possibility I haven't mentioned yet, theoretically, could they tie? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.